I'd always, there was always this inner voice that was telling me, like, you're not good enough. And it really focused a lot on what I looked like in my body. I ended up developing anorexia. I think it took me a reality check of walking into a doctor's office and having someone tell me, if you keep going like this, you will be dead within the next 2 months. My name is Emma Mannis, and I am the CEO and owner of Evolve. When you have an eating disorder, you start off making these small little changes to your diet. You start cutting out your carbs, and then you start cutting out your fats, but then before you know it, you're cutting out everything that you need to survive, and you keep going, you lose control, you can't stop. So I went from being around, I think 165 pounds to 97.8 in the matter of 6 months. So it was a huge change. I was not Emma anymore. I wasn't the person that, people had known their entire lives, but I didn't really know myself either. When you have an eating disorder, you pass it off and you're like, oh, I'm just eating really well, cutting out this or that, or exercising a lot more. So, from going from 165 down to like the 120s, you're praised and you're rewarded for all your weight loss because, people see that as such a positive thing, when in reality, I was slowly killing myself. So, I started treatment, and a couple of months prior, actually, I had started to do a lot of social media influencing on Instagram. But I had a friend from high school, and we had been friends for a very long time, and she had started a photo business. And she really wanted to shoot with me. And, this is the same time that everything's going on with my eating disorder. So I'm losing a bunch of weight, but also, working with someone new and doing a lot of new things with my image. And that obviously put a lot of pressure on my eating disorder. But about 2 months later, she said to me, what would you think about doing a clothing company together? You can do all the styling and all the fashion related things, and I'll do a lot of more of the creative directing and photography. So it was a perfect match. My biggest thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to do it differently. I'd seen how much the fashion industry and the media impacts women and how much it impacts body image, and going through something like that yourself makes you realize how big of an issue it is. So we decided to call it Evolve. We called it Evolve because we wanted to evolve with women through the rest of their lives. The big things, the small things, the in-between things, we wanted their clothing not just to be clothing, but a representation of who they were. We weren't just selling clothing, we were selling confidence and the belief that, you are good enough exactly as you are. We wanted to get away from the typical industry standard of the same white, thin models that only represented 3 to 5% of women. We wanted to do something that was different. We wanted to do something that made everyone feel beautiful. We wanted people to come to our website and be able to see themselves in our clothing. I don't think a lot of people really think about how much their clothing impacts the way it makes them feel. And I think girls are raised in a world where you're almost taught that self-love is a bad thing, and you're taught that being confident in yourself is a turn-off, or you're competing with other women about who's the skinniest, who's the prettiest, who's the smartest, because there's always a competition around women. But life is so much more than that. And I think it took me going through what I went through to understand that. And it's hard because some days I'm so grateful for what my eating disorder taught me and what it continues to teach me, not only about myself, but other people. We're actually having a fall fashion fest. Usually when we have pop-ups, we'll do food and drinks and music, and then of course the shopping. So we have about 20 new pieces hitting the website for fall fashion, and they're gorgeous. We'll have them released at the pop-up for the first time, so first dibs for anyone who comes to the pop-up. And we'll have a couple of vendors come in, so Evolve, of course, will be there. And like for this one, we're partnering with Stella and Dot, so they'll be there doing jewelry. We have an author coming in sharing a book on eating disorder recovery stories. So we like to bring in different vendors, different artists, different makers in the Richmond area who we also feel like really align with us well. So we'll do, that shopping part of it, get to mix and mingle a little bit, but also enjoy just having a good time, enjoy the whole 9 yards. It's going to be a full fall fashion event from start to finish, so they're a lot of fun. Sorry. Looking back now, it's like it's a whole other person. Like that's not who I am, and it was never really who I was. It was this huge, long journey that I had to walk down to really start to understand how to love myself and like why I needed to love myself, because no one else is going to love you the way that you need to be loved except for you.